So now let us take this next topic, that is, what are the survey methods? As we have already discussed in the previous modules, that we are talking of a big country like India, we're talking of 138 crore population. You should be knowing what health facilities to be planned. You should be knowing what is the requirement of the public or the population right now as far as their health is concerned. And to do that, you have these demographic trends or variables or the fertility indicators. But to find out the fertility indicators, you can find out the TFR or the GRR or the NRR only when you know that what is happening in the country today. So how many live births are there, how many females are there in the reproductive age group, what is happening in the infant, like how many infants are dying, how many neonates are dying, what's happening where, that everything has to be surveyed. So that's what, bache, you're going to learn right now. Let us talk about the survey techniques. In this video module, you're going to learn about 4 or 5 major survey techniques. We will look about the civil registration system, that is the CRS, the sample registration system, SRS, National Family Health Survey, district level household survey or the DLHS, and your big answer about the census. So first things first, let us have a quick MCQ number 1. What do you mean by a de facto survey and what do you mean by a de jure survey? These are French words. De facto means a as and where basis. So de facto is that wherever you find a person, we assume that the person belongs to that area and the person is going to stay in that area. So you could find people in village 1. So we assume that they are residents of that village. That is called as a de facto survey. Long time back, we used to talk about the de facto surveys in 1930s, before 1930s. Since 1930s, in census at least, we are talking about the census, we started using the de jure survey, which is based on the legal proof of permanent residency of an individual. So this de facto or the de jure survey, I'm basically talking about the census, and in NFHS or in SRS you can use any method, but as far as census is concerned, we are predominantly using the de jure method. That is, we started using de jure method 1930 onwards. So you have these 2 types of surveys. Let us talk about the first registration system that we have in India, that is the CRS. Lot of questions, 3 by 5 star MCQ topic, lot of questions come on this topic. What do you mean by CRS? First is, what is the logo? Logo, you can see that there is something which rises, the flame rises, and then the flame goes off. This is the deaths and this is the births. So what is the CRS for? CRS MCQ number 1 is used for the birth and death registration in India. Second MCQ, within how much time we are supposed to register the birth? The birth should be registered within 21 days. The death should be registered within another 21 days. In case of non-resident Indians, the birth and the death should be registered within 90 days. So basically the civil registration system, it talks about the births and the deaths in the area, and we consider that these both birth and death, these are the vital events of life. These are the vital events of life, and that's why we sometimes call the CRS or the civil registration system also as the vital registration system of our country. But you need to understand that the CRS, it's not a survey technique. Actually, I've clubbed under the survey techniques, but it's actually not a survey. Survey means you knock somebody's door and you go that say that, hi, how are you doing? And what is happening? How many people you have? That's kind of a survey. But this is an ongoing registration system. It is under the Ministry of Home Affairs, under the Office of Registrar General of India. So the Ministry of Home Affairs, along with the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, like a lot of ministries are involved, but it is under the Office of Registrar General of India, and it's a continuous process. That is what you need to understand. It's not a survey that we are doing, but MCQs can be that you do what in CRS, we check for the births and the deaths. So if you just look around this picture, like this is an image from the CRS module that we had seen with the Government of India released in year 2021. You can see the level of births registration and you can see the level of deaths registration. This for the births and this for the deaths registration on the right hand side. So you can see that predominantly many parts of our country, they are more or less in the green or the yellow areas. That is more than 85-90% of the births are registered. As far as deaths are concerned, so probably in year 2020, so not so many deaths or not so many births were accurately registered, so we have a slightly lesser number. But you can see many parts in India, they are in the green and the yellow zone, except few parts which are in the orange or the red zone. In most parts of our country, we have more than 85% births and the deaths registration in our country. This is what is the civil registration system. MCQ is only one that it checks you what? It checks for the births and the deaths. Coming over to the next registration system, that is called as SRS. SRS stands for Sample Registration System. It is conducted every 6 monthly. So it is conducted every 6 monthly. How? It is conducted at two levels. We take the national data and we take the state level data and we triangulate the data. The data triangulation is done. What do you mean by triangulation? The data matching is done. So we take the data from the base, from the field level, from the state level, every village level data is given to the PHC, PHC gives it to the district, district gives it to the state. So you take the data from the state level and independently national data is taken. They both are matched together and that's what is data triangulation, and that is presented to the public of the country, that is the citizens of the country. So basically MCQs that you can get is, it is conducted at what level? It is conducted at two levels. Because it is conducted at two levels, it is called as a dual registration system, and it is conducted every 6 monthly. And because it is conducted every 6 monthly, it is also called as a biannual system. So that is what is SRS system. It is conducted every 6 monthly. It's a very rapidly evolving data and it's a dual system. Next MCQ is, what is the use of this SRS? Why do we do SRS? SRS is done for many indicators, very important. We are talking about the crude birth rates, about the crude death rates. We are also talking about the natural growth rates, like what is the real growth rate of a country, and we are also talking about the infant mortality rates, the maternal mortality ratios, and so on. So grossly you can remember that the mother and child health indicators, the infant mortalities, the maternal mortalities, the natural growth rates, crude birth rate, crude death rates are all given by the sample registration system. It is a very beautifully evolving system. If you just look at the report for the sample registration system, which was released in October 2021, this data was based on the 2019 survey. So in 2019 survey, the data came out in 2021. It shows that the crude birth rate of our country is 19.7. The crude death rate of our country is 6.0, and the infant mortality rate, this is the latest data that we have, infant mortality rate is 30 infant mortality rate per 1,000 live births. So crude birth rate, crude death rate, infant mortality, this is the main forte, this is the main focus of having the SRS. So you need to remember this data. A lot of time, 3 by 5 star MCQ topic, a lot of time they ask you in your exam. Talking about the maternal mortality ratios, the maternal mortality ratio was given by an independent special survey under the SRS. This MMR has shown to be 113. So we are very proud to say that we have come a long way. When I was doing MBBS, it was around 250. And today we stand at a point where the MMR is 113 per lakh. It is expressed as per lakh live births. So please note that MMR, IMRs, they all are given by the SRS. That is very important for you to understand and note. I would like to point over here that what is MMR? We have discussed much in detail in your MCH module, but just a quick word about MMR again over here. MMR stands for maternal mortality ratio. It's not a maternal mortality rate. Maternal mortality ratio, the formula is, it is the number of maternal deaths. It is the number of maternal deaths divided by the total live births in the area, divided by the live births multiplied by 100,000 or 1 lakh. Please note, it is always expressed as per lakh live births, and the current MMR in India as per the 2021 SRS report, it is 113 per lakh live births. So that's the latest number that you can remember for your exam. So that's what is the SRS bulletin. Next is, let us come to number 3. The next one is National Family Health Survey, NFHS number 5. Beta, you need to understand that NFHS 5 data was released in year 2021. And because it was released in 2021, it's a massively big survey. You have a lot of new data which came in. And therefore, I would say that probably this could be a very prospective MCQ in your upcoming exam. I would consider it's a 5 by 5 star MCQ topic. Whatever it is, before the exam, just study NFHS and go. So what is NFHS? NFHS stands for National Family Health Survey. MCQ number 1. It is conducted after every how many years? We conducted every 5 yearly. It is conducted at what level and which ministry is going to take care of it? Of course, the name is National Family Health Survey. So it's conducted at what level? It is conducted at a national level. It's taken care by the Health Ministry, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So very recently in September, October 2021, we released the National Family Health Survey number 5 data to you. So what is the use of this NFHS? Why do we talk so much about NFHS? Till now, nobody has told us that how many females are using what type of contraception. How many females are not using contraception? How many children have anemia levels? How many people have hypertension? How many people have diabetes in India? No survey has told us these things. So basically, NFHS is going to tell you about a lot of indicators. For example, it is going to tell us about the literacy rate of the country. It is going to tell us about the sex ratio in our country. It is going to tell us about the HB levels or the anemia level prevalence. It is going to tell us about the iron folic acid consumption. It is going to tell us about the contraception use. It will also, very important, going to talk to you about the immunization rates in our country and so on, and many other indicators. But we are going to see many indicators right now, but that's just generally the use of NFHS. So just talking about the latest NFHS 5, the question may come in your exam. So I'll just spend a couple of minutes over here, 2-3 minutes, to give you an overview that what NFHS 5 is all about. MCQ number 1, it is conducted by which ministry? It is conducted by the Health Ministry, that is the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Question number 2. This health ministry has given the work of conducting NFHS to which institute? It is conducted by the IIPS, that is the International Institute for Population Sciences, IIPS, that is located in Mumbai, Maharashtra. International Institute for Population Sciences. That is the body, that is the organization which had conducted the NFHS 5 data. Question number 3. When was the NFHS 5 data conducted? The NFHS 5 data was conducted in year 2019 till 20. That time, the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic was also on. So NFHS 5 report basic 3 MCQs. Next, if you just little bit go into detail into the NFHS 5 data, you can see that in NFHS 5, for the first time under the National Family Health Survey, we had conducted the blood pressure and the blood glucose level testing. Also, the waist and hip circumference were calculated. Some new topics were included in the NFHS 5. You don't need to memorize these topics. That we started asking about the preschool education, disabilities, rates and access to the toilet facilities, death registration, bathing practices during menstruation or menstrual hygiene, methods and reasons for abortion, so on. But for your MCQ exams, you should be knowing that blood pressure and blood glucose were tested for the first time under the National Family Health Survey, and HIV testing has been dropped this time. So no more HIV testing is conducted by the National Family Health Survey because of common reasons. The NACO people, they were already doing the survey, and if the NFHS is also going to test about HIV, it is going to cause overlapping of the national data for HIV. So that's the reason NFHS did not talk about the HIV. There are 4 MCQs. There are 4, not the MCQs. There are 4 questionnaires in NFHS. So we have a separate questionnaire for the males. We have a separate questionnaire for the females, common sense. But you should remember that there are separate questionnaires which talk about the household levels, and there is a separate questionnaire which talks about the anthropometric measurements and the biomarker or the laboratory measurements. So there are in total 4 questionnaires. These questionnaires are called as schedules. So there are NFHS contain 4 schedules, and there were some new topics which are included in the NFHS. Now I would like to take you through the journey of discussing some salient features which we observed in NFHS. So first, a very big massive change which can come in your exam is about the sex ratios. The sex ratio for country India, it has been observed that the sex ratio in India is now 1020, with the sex ratio at birth is 929. So let me just have a quick word with you regarding the sex ratio. What do you mean by the sex ratio? Sex ratio. What is the sex ratio? Sex ratio is the number of females. It is the number of females per thousand males. It is the number of females per thousand males. So for the first time, the country has witnessed under the NFHS 5 data to be 1020. That means what? That now we have 1020 females for 1000 males. That means more number of females. Of course, on international, that's between the courts, right? It's not for your MCQ. On international level, there has been some controversies regarding this data of 1020 because this NFHS was conducted using a de facto method. And during the COVID-19 time, the male migrants were locked in the cities and they could not come back to their homes where the NFHS was conducted. So under the survey, probably more number of females were found during the survey. I'm just justifying this data. I'm just justifying this number in case you have any controversies in your brain that how's it possible. So I'm just justifying this number, but for your MCQ exams, bache, you need to remember that the NFHS 5 data gave us the sex ratio of 1020 per 1000 males. The sex ratio as per the birth, that is called as sex ratio at birth, according to NFHS 5 is 929. According to NFHS 5 is 929. That means 929 daughters are born for every 1000 males. So that somehow correlates with the data or the understanding we have. That is regarding the sex ratio. Next MCQ which can also be asked is regarding the literacy rates. So there are a lot of controversies regarding literacy rate. What do you mean by literacy rate? Literacy rate. Please note there is something called as effective literacy rate. Effective literacy rate. What do you mean by effective literacy rate? It is the total number of population, number of people who can read MCQ and write. Read and write in any language. Okay. Number of population who can read and write. Mark these words. It's important for your exam, bache. It is the number of population who can read and write in any language. Divided by what? Divided by age. Divided by the total population age more than 7 years. That is multiplied by 100. That is called as the effective literacy rate. So there are 3 MCQs people can ask you. Age more than 7 years. Number of people who can read and write and understand and in any language. Okay. 3 MCQs. Now comes the question, what is adult literacy rate? What do you mean by adult literacy rate? The adult literacy rate is same answer. It is the number of population who can read and, okay, it's the same answer. It's number of population who can read and write in any language divided by the age more than 15 years. Please note it is more than 15 years. Under the National Family Health Survey, we are talking about the adult literacy rate. It is age 15 to 49 years. Okay. So please note that what is the literacy rate? We have something called as effective literacy rate. We have something called as adult literacy rate. Adult literacy rate is age more than 15 years. Effective literacy rate is age more than 7 years. You need to memorize this in your brain right now. Coming to next MCQ. What do you talk about the any method of contraception? Any method of contraception in India among the WRA females. This is among the WRA females. What do you mean by WRA females? We talked in the modules previously. It is 15 to 49 years. So among the total WRA females, any method of contraception was used by 66%. That means 66% females, 67% were contraceptized. Okay, that makes sense that why the TFR in our country is below 2.1 now. So you need to know that number of contraceptive using females was 67%. Out of them, do you know, this is not there in the data, I think, but do you know that the females who had tubectomy was roughly around 38 to 40%. So most common contraception which is used in India is tubectomy. Most common contraception in India is tubectomy. Undoubtedly, you have to mark it in your exam. Coming over to the next important MCQs, right? So these are the data. If you want, you can remember these numbers anyway in your exam. But just for general understanding of your data, if I talk about the stunting in under 5, wasting in under 5, underweight for age, usually you can see that it ranges from 20 to 30%. That is the under 5 malnutrition rates in India. So you can just remember this. Next is, if we talk, we're still on the NFHS. If we still talk again that how many females in India age 15 to 49 years are under less levels of iron in their body, that is iron deficiency anemia. So we can see that unfortunately it's a bad number. 57% of the females in India are iron deficient anemic. So that is a number which you can be asked in your exam. You should at least take a note before studying the mother child health indicators. These are the things which may define your understanding in the MCH module. Next, I would also like you to know that the diabetes prevalence, high blood sugar, or people who were already on anti-diabetic medications was found to be around 13 to 15%. Tobacco use in females was of course less, but in males it was a horrendous number of 40% people are using any form of tobacco, and alcohol was used by 20% of the population in males. Total dependency, we have already talked, is 48.67. So these are some of the numbers you should remember from NFHS. Highlight of the story in NFHS is regarding the total fertility rate. We forgot to highlight this. Total fertility rate, I think we talked on this in the previous module. Total fertility rate of India is 2.0. The highlight is about the sex ratio 1020. The highlight is about the most common contraception in female, that is 66%. Now, just to take home summary, what is the icing of the cake you want to eat? The icing of the cake you want to remember for your exam is that what is the MMR in India, bache? MMR in India is 113 per lakh. What is the infant mortality in India? Infant mortality as per the latest SRS data is 30 per 1000 live births. NNMR, neonatal mortality rate in India is 23 per 1000 live births. Under 5 mortality rate is 36 per 1000 live births. Crude birth rate is 19.7 and the crude death rate is 6.0 as per the latest SRS data. These are the highly selected stats you would like to remember for your exam. And moving further, the point number 4, survey number 4, that is called as DLHS. What is DLHS stand for? District level household survey. It's a district level household survey. So MCQ number 1, it is an ad hoc survey. What do you mean by ad hoc survey? That means it is it's not a permanent survey. It's not done after every 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. It's an ad hoc survey. It is conducted at what level? Common sense, it is conducted at district level. What is the use of district level household survey? Usually the DLHS is used for some of the mother and child health parameters, like how many females are having ANCs, how many females are having adequate nutrition in their houses, how many females actually go for the postnatal checkups and things like these. About the growth parameters for children, and sometimes we also do DLHS. These are ad hoc surveys done at district level. So various district authorities, they have the authorization to conduct these surveys. And sometimes we also use for some of the social variables, some of the variables which affect health. So that is regarding the social variables, like how many people, how many villages have toilets, access to toilets, how much is the safe water supply in their houses, what are the suicide rates, what are the domestic violence rates. So some of the social parameters which affect health can be assessed using these DLHS. These are ad hoc surveys. That's the only MCQ. Next in line you have is your biggest survey in fact in India, that is the census. Census is conducted by which ministry? Census is conducted under the Ministry of Home Affairs. It is conducted under the Ministry of Home Affairs directly by the Prime Minister's office. Census is conducted every 10 yearly. I think we all know it. It is a decadal survey. It is conducted every 10 yearly. What's the use of census? Why do we conduct census at the first place? Census will tell you about the demographic structure of the population. It tells you about how many people are less than 15 years, how many people are 15 to 25, how many are more than that, how many are elderly and things and so on. So it is one big census which is going to tell you about the structure, age pyramids of the population. That is what is census. What is the method that we use in census? Census is almost always based on the de jure method. That is based on the legal proof that where the person lives, based on the Aadhaar card or the voter card. Coming next, a few points about the census. The last census data that we have currently is 2011 data, but now we have also seen preliminary reports from the 2021 census. A few points about the 2021 census. 2021 census is a digital census. It is a digital census. And under the 2021 census, we have also differentiated the population based on the occupational categories, based on the industrial worker category, industrial worker classification. So people have been classified based on the type of industries they are working, how many males are working in which industry, female working in which industry, and children working in which all industries. So industrial classification, occupational classification is the main focus, one of the main focus of the 2021 census. So earlier we had conducted a normal paper census in year 2011, but right now India is in the process of conducting the 2021 census. It was delayed because of the pandemic issues, but all said and done, it's a big survey and almost on the verge of completion. By the time you'll be watching this video, probably I'll be out with the census data, hopefully. So that's how we're talking about the census. Census is conducted every 10 years. A few salient features, some here and there MCQs that you might get on census, some bad MCQs, I would say. The first census was conducted in which year? The first census was conducted in year 1881. That was the first official census. That is the first official census. The unofficial census we started conducting in year 1860s and 1870s, but the first official census was in 1881. Then in 1981, for the first time, disability was accounted in the census. In the census, for the first time, disability, DAB stands for disability. I'm working on my shortcuts that I use in my classes every time. So disability was accounted in the census, and in 2021 we have for the first time we have started using industrial classification, industrial and occupational classification has been included in 2021. And in 1921, that is long time back, right? 100 years back, 1921 is also known as the year of big divide. Why do we call it as a year of big divide? Because probably at that time we saw a peak in our annual growth rates around that time. So why do you think we saw the peaks in the annual growth rate? Because from 1921 census, we started observing a rise in the growth rates. That is probably the India was planning to enter or almost had entered into the phase 2 where we see rapid growth rates. So I hope you remember it from the first module in demography where we discussed about the demographic cycle. So 1921 is called as a year of big divide because the India started showing a rapid increase in the growth rates after 1921. So these are some of the MCQs that you need to remember for all the survey techniques that we have. Thank you so much for watching this module. Take care and keep on revising.